John from JO Ventures Outdoors, and today I have a little bit different video. I actually have a video here of behind the scenes at JO Ventures Outdoors. Pete from Jersey's Knife Guy, he did a little video of his project for his knife room and showed some of the behind the scenes. And I thought that was interesting and thought I might do that for my channel. I've also seen Tobias do this, and I thought that was really cool to see his knife room. And so I thought I would just kind of show you where I film some of the videos and work on leather projects and work on knives and that sort of thing. So this is actually out in my garage. You can see I've got some things stored here. I won't show you too much of this because it's kind of messy, but um, so this is a toolbox actually. It's a Craftsman toolbox. I'll back up just a little bit so you can see it. And I've got a countertop that I found for free, and I attached it to the toolbox, and it gives me just a little more surface to do videos. You can see I have my tripod hanging right over here, and I'm using kind of a little mini tripod to do this video. And this is the cutting board that you typically see in my videos when I do it from here. I also do some videoing, recording, I should say, video recording on my a picnic table in the back if it's quiet enough. In the wintertime, I'll do it in another room in the house. But I like to do it here mostly, just because there's a controlled environment and everything is right here. This is actually an old toolbox from my childhood, and I converted it into a knife maintenance kit. It has all kinds of great things in here for maintaining and cleaning up knives, sandpaper and rags, and a little Torx bit set, that sort of thing. So that's there just to kind of show you that. Again, I've got over here some leather and leather supplies. I've got a box of, this is 7 to 8 ounce leather. These are a couple deer hides. I've got a project I need to make, and I'll show you a little bit about that here in a few minutes, out of this deer hide for my brother-in-law. And then this is one I made the knife roll out of. This is goat skin, really thin leather. And this is a really big piece of leather I just bought recently. And I made that sheath, custom sheath for that custom knife. And here's the first attempt. And you can see that's pretty thick, really nice leather here. It's a lot of leather, and I'll be able to make a lot of great projects out of that. I also keep some over here, scraps of leather. I started leather work by just buying a bag of scraps from a leather shop for $5. And that's how I started. And so I still have a lot of that left over, and I use it for various projects. And so you can see some of this over here. And my carry for today is actually the, and I don't know if I can get this out without, maybe I can, one-handed. Can I? Oh yeah. It's the copper lock that I got in that trade for the recent sheath, and then I made a little slip for it last week. So sorry if the camera is kind of jumpy. I don't really have a gimbal to be able to do very much of this, but I thought I'd try to show you as much as possible. So I'm going to walk over here. This is where I do some of my leather work. I just set up a little table, and you can see here I've got dyes and alcohol and some other stuff here that I use. This is the leather finish I put on them. I'll just come around here so you can see some of this, but that's the leather finish. You can see I've been working on a couple of projects here. Some knife slips, just general knife slips. This is one for, actually that is a blue mini, very small toothpick from Frost Cutlery. And so from Frost, and so I'll talk about it at some point. And then I made a couple other slips here. And I use cardboard to dye them on so I don't get dye everywhere. This is my leather box, my toolbox for my leather supplies and tools. You can see all those there. Vinyl gloves come in very handy, and rags when you're dyeing leather products. And then you can see the toolbox. I've got thread in there, small hammer, and some scraps of leather, and some other, there's snaps and rivets and all kinds of great stuff in there. And then for these projects, I did want to mention a viewer commented that I should learn to saddle stitch. And I have never learned to actually do a proper saddle stitch. I do a form of that usually, but I've been teaching myself this week. And saddle stitching requires you to take, instead of one needle and go through the holes twice, you use two needles and go through it once from each side. So you have to have a stitching pony, which I kind of did a makeshift stitching pony out of these two boards and the vise and that sort of thing. So I use that as a stitching pony, and I've been practicing saddle stitching, and it's coming out very nicely, I think. You can see some of that there. It's a little bit crooked on that green one, but it's getting better, I think, and I'll keep practicing. The other project I'm working on right now too is out of that one of those deer hides is a hawk and arrow shooting pouch. So this is the pattern for it, and actually going to modify this part of the pattern, and then I use a cereal box to make a more sturdy pattern to actually cut that out of the leather with. So I'll use one of those deer hides to do that. And so that's a little bit about what's going on here behind the scenes at JO Ventures Outdoors. And I hope you've enjoyed this. And I certainly appreciate the support. And I thank you very much for watching.